Welcome to my Tom Ford Foundation overview review demo video. I have both the Tom Ford foundations here that are available right now. It is December 2011. I have the Traceless Foundation SPF 15 and the Traceless Foundation Stick. Since there are just two foundations available, I am going to be doing this in one video. I'm just going to show you one of these at a time, apply them, talk a little bit about them, and then give you a general comparison between the two at the end. Tom Ford Traceless Fluid Foundation right here. This sells in the US for $78 for 1 ounce or 30 milliliters. It is described as a traceless, barely there, gives you a glow kind of foundation. It's light to buildable coverage with skincare infused in the product and an SPF of 15. That's kind of the gist of it. I'm going to apply this on my face in a second. That's why I actually have nothing on right now, just moisturizer. As far as skincare goes, I'm looking down the list of ingredients that are on the box. Caffeine is in here, which some people aren't going to like. There's some fruit extracts, but I don't really know how much weight I would put in the claims of it being outstanding skincare. Mostly when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that this is a water-based foundation with lots of emollient products and lots of silicone products. There is a sunscreen in here, just as it says. The active ingredient, though, is primarily a UVB blocker. So it's not broad spectrum protection. If you want UVA, UVB protection, make sure that your moisturizer has it, or that you're using a powder that has it, something that will add a little bit more protection. Let's go ahead and start testing this out, though. It comes out very, very liquid. You can kind of see it running down my finger here. It has a scent that's, it has lavender extract in it, and you can smell that. And it also has a little bit of a sunscreen smell. But other than that, there's no real perfuminess to it, and it doesn't linger on the skin too much. Now once I get kind of a base coat on here, I'm going to start buffing it just a little bit, just to blend out any spots. This is the MAC 109. Foundation in particular, it is incredibly sheer. It's very much like a tinted moisturizer. So one of the ways that I work with products like this is to dot a little on the skin and leave it there, or put some on the back of your hand and spread it out, or on a plate, on a dish, on a palette, anything like that, and let it kind of sit in the air for a minute. And what that will do, as it dries, it will help it to thicken, get a little bit more tacky, so that you do get more coverage off of it. Wearability on this, as far as how long it will last, will vary from person to person. I got about 4 to 6 hours of decent wear. Because it is very similar to a tinted moisturizer, and because of the high content of silicone products that are in this, this would make a nice tinted primer. If you're used to using something like Armani's Face Fabric as a primer, because it works really well as that, or even a beauty balm type product, if you're used to those, this isn't going to be too far off from what you're used to. Now that that's sat on the skin, I'm going to take this and start blending it out a little bit. That's about as much coverage as I've been able to get from the product. You can see that it has covered the dark circles quite a bit, but not completely, and not as much as I would typically like. But it does feel very lightweight. It does dry down to a sort of satin finish. If you have dry skin, you don't need to powder this at all. If you're someone who can wear Pro Lumiere, as an example, by Chanel, and not powder it, this is going to be totally fine. This does just remind me a lot of a tinted moisturizer or a beauty balm type product. So if you're looking for something like that, check this out. Alright guys, Tom Ford Traceless Foundation Stick right here. This one does not list an SPF. It comes in a little twist up, just like this. It does not list skincare ingredients. It is pretty much just a cream foundation in a twist up stick. If you look at the ingredients, there is a small amount of titanium dioxide in here that could act as some sort of a sunscreen, but it is like the third from the last thing on the list, so that's probably why it's not listed, because it's just not enough to count. As I did with the previous foundation, I've started with a clean and moisturized face. I have used more moisturizer on my face for this foundation than I did for the last one because I have drier skin and this is going to be a little bit heavy for me. Since there's not a whole lot to discuss about this, let's go ahead and just start applying it. However you want to use this, a brush like this, a stippling brush, your fingers, put it right on your face, whatever you want to do. A sponge would work very well. I'm just going to get a little on my finger here and start putting it on the skin, and then I will buff it out. This is the kind of foundation that responds very well to applying and then shearing out with a damp sponge. Everybody has their own sort of technique for doing that. I tend to like the beauty blender type sponges and just kind of pressing and rolling into the skin. I find that I get the best look with that. And buff this in, and I'm going to use the MAC 128 brush. I'm using the synthetic side. Unlike the other foundation, the liquid one, this one can definitely be built up into something that's more of a full coverage foundation. You can actually use this as a concealer type product. So go ahead and build until you have however much you want on there. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more. This time I'm going to be going in with the MAC 130 brush, which is a small stippling brush, just to kind of build up a little bit where I want more coverage. This foundation, by the way, if I didn't say, is 0.5 ounces or 15 grams for $78 US. Sort of an old school trick with foundations, if you don't have a damp sponge, use your fingers, especially after it sits on your face for 5 minutes or so, and just kind of press it into the skin a little bit. This will help it to push into your pores a little, blend with your skin a little bit more, so that you can actually see the texture of your skin underneath the product. This does provide a satin finish pretty much when you put it on to when you blend it out. It's not going to change a whole lot, and the wear time again will depend on your skin type. I found anywhere between 4 to 6 hours looking nice. Any foundation, anything that you put on your face really is going to look kind of tired over time. So when foundations say they last 8 hours, they may, but by hour 8 they're looking pretty scary. So yes, this will be on your skin 8 hours later, but it's just not going to look as nice, obviously, as it does when you just put it on. I tend to favor powdering cream foundations, odd as it may seem, because they're heavier and they're more dry, so you wouldn't think that I would add powder, but I find that they just feel a little heavy if I don't powder them. Once I add a little bit of powder, they feel a little weightless. You stop feeling so much stuff on your face. Alright, now that we've demoed both of these, let's talk about them together. If you are a fan of getting kind of matchy-matchy with brands, if you'd like to just use Tom Ford foundation entirely, completely, both of these foundations work very well together. This works great as a more full coverage cream foundation that you can blend with a liquid foundation or just use as kind of a spot concealer. This works really great as a base for a heavier foundation. Again, they do mix really well together. They work really well together. So you can do that. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, Donna, who a lot of you on YouTube know as Donna Shorts 1, and she actually put this very, very well, much better than I could. She said that this foundation is the type of foundation you use if you want to enhance your skin, and this foundation is the type of foundation you use if you want to cover your skin. That's really the best way to put it. If you're someone who generally likes to work with beauty balm type products or tinted moisturizers, or like a really light coverage foundation that's very sheer, very moisture rich, definitely if you're someone who has drier skin, this is the one that I would tend to grab for. If you are someone who likes a more full coverage foundation, who feels like you want to really hide more, or you want a more just full coverage matte kind of look to the skin, then this is definitely the one to grab for. Again, They work very well together. That being said, they also work very well with other foundations. You can easily use this with any other full coverage liquid, cream, any other type of foundation, and you can use this with something like MAC's Face and Body or any other sheer coverage foundation. Mix it with moisturizer if you want for something that's a little bit more sheer than this is. These are both really nice foundations. They don't provide any finish that is something I've never seen before, something that you can't achieve from another product, but they're really, really nice. I know that they are a little bit of an expense for people. $78 a piece is not necessarily a drop in the bucket for most of us. I never speak, or I try to never speak to value in terms of what you get for the money when I do reviews, specifically because what I make is none of your business, what you make is absolutely none of my business, and we all have different things that we spend our money on. So, that being said, things like value and worth the money, those are subjective terms in my eyes, and it is up to you to make that determination for yourself. Alright guys, that's it. I hope that this was informative and helpful when you're looking at these guys. There aren't a whole lot of reviews on them yet, so I thought that it would be a good idea to kind of throw them out there because I know that people are interested in the brand and there are some interesting products within the brand. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will do my best to get back to you. Until I see you next time, take care. I will see you soon and drive safe.